All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another update. A lot of people may be wondering why, you know, we keep giving out so much information on this border crisis because it's imperative that you know who's coming to your communities, you know where they're coming from, you know the backstory behind this. Again, I'm going to say a lot of you people that subscribe, y'all should read this book, Behold the Pale Horse. It's by William Bill Cooper. Behold the Pale Horse. It's a good book. You know what I mean? You know, they like to call him a conspiracy theorist. Anytime somebody tells you that it's more than what meets the eye, they're conspiracy theorists. So I want you to take a real good look at what I'm finna show you and what the FBI discovered at the border. I found this on a channel called The Fugitive. Shout out to The Fugitive for the information. Check out what's going on at the border. This for commentary into the 1976 Copyright Act, fair usage. Check it out, people.
In a recent and astonishing turn of events, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has stumbled upon a discovery along the US-Mexico border that is sending shockwaves through the nation. This revelation has the potential to reshape everything we thought we knew about the border and its challenges. Let's dive into the details of this terrifying discovery that is set to alter the course of border security and law enforcement strategies. Migrants cross US-Mexico border illegally. In a gripping video captured by Fox News reporters Greg Weiner and Bill Melugin, the US-Mexico border witnessed a shocking scene as dozens of migrants brazenly crossed into the United States. The footage, filmed in Jacumba, a region along the California-Mexico border, unraveled a concerning event that underscores the ongoing challenges faced by border enforcement agencies. The video commences with the arrival of two large SUVs near the border, disgorging a significant number of migrants who proceed to cross into the US on foot, seemingly evading legal channels. Jacumba, situated in the eastern part of San Diego County, falls within the jurisdiction of the US Border Patrol's San Diego sector, which has been grappling with a surge in border crossings, especially as Texas intensifies its border control efforts. As the migrants traverse towards the border wall that marks the boundary between the two nations, the footage captures their determined journey. Upon reaching the end of the wall section, the migrants swiftly turn the corner, making their way into the United States. Notably, as the individuals realize they are being recorded, they break into a jog while the two SUVs hastily depart from the scene. Bud Knapp, the Fox News employee behind the lens, disclosed that the diverse group of migrants included individuals from China, Turkey, Brazil, and India. Remarkably, there was only one Border Patrol agent in the vicinity during this audacious border crossing. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection sources, the San Diego sector witnessed nearly 1,100 Border Patrol apprehensions on that Sunday alone. Among them were 97 Chinese nationals and 91 Turkish nationals, contributing to over 850 unlawful crossings by single adults. The situation amplifies concerns raised by a group of former FBI officials who recently warned about a new and imminent danger at the southern border, pointing to a surge in military-age foreign nationals entering the country. The unsettling revelation comes in the wake of a
I'm gonna stop there. He said that they noticed military age from all over the world, Turkey, China. How many of y'all have ever heard the term fifth column? If you one of my regular subscribers, look up the word and the definition of fifth column and get that book by William Cooper. Because at this point, are we conspiracy theorists? Let's see what the feds find out. This is breaking news.
Tumultuous period along the US-Mexico border, with December recording over 302,000 migrant encounters following a record-breaking 2023 that saw 2.4 million migrant encounters. The former FBI officials, including Kevin Brock, Chris Swecker, Timothy Healy, and Mark Morgan, emphasized the urgency of addressing this growing crisis in a letter to congressional leaders. The pursuit of a better life is a universal aspiration, and for many, the United States represents the land of opportunity. However, for countless migrants, legal avenues to enter the country are often limited or inaccessible. As a result, they are left with no choice but to take matters into their own hands and cross the border illegally. Push factors such as extreme poverty, lack of job opportunities, and rampant violence in their home countries force these individuals to make the difficult decision to leave everything behind. They are driven by the hope of finding safety, stability, and a chance at a brighter future for themselves and their families. According to recent statistics, poverty rates in some of these countries have reached staggering levels, with millions living in dire conditions. Unemployment rates are alarmingly high, leaving little hope for economic stability. Additionally, the prevalence of violence and organized crime further exacerbates the challenges faced by these individuals. Crossing the border illegally is no easy feat. Migrants must navigate treacherous terrains, including vast deserts, rugged mountains, and perilous rivers. They often travel for days or even weeks, enduring extreme weather conditions and physical exhaustion. Tragically, not all migrants survive this journey. Many succumb to dehydration, heat stroke, or hypothermia. Their dreams of a better life are cut short by the unforgiving nature of the borderlands. Shockingly, thousands of migrant deaths have been recorded along the US-Mexico border in recent years. These individuals pay the ultimate price in their pursuit of a better future. Even if migrants manage to evade the natural hazards, they face the constant threat of being apprehended by Border Patrol agents. The risk of detention, deportation, and separation from their loved ones looms over them at every step. Detention centers, often overcrowded and under-resourced, become temporary homes for those caught in the crosshairs of immigration enforcement. Families are torn apart, children are left without their parents, and the emotional toll is immeasurable. The dangers don't end there. Migrants are vulnerable to exploitation by human traffickers who prey on their desperation. These criminals exploit their hopes and dreams, subjecting them to physical and emotional abuse, forced labor, and even sexual exploitation. Despite all these challenges, some migrants successfully reach their intended destinations and start a better life. Why are migrants in record numbers? In recent years, the world has witnessed an unprecedented surge in the number of migrants crossing the US-Mexico border illegally. This phenomenon has left many wondering, why are migrants in record numbers? The reasons behind this mass migration are complex and multifaceted, intertwining political, economic, and social factors. Push factors such as violence, poverty, and lack of opportunities in their home countries compel individuals to embark on perilous journeys in search of a better life. Pull factors, including the promise of economic prosperity, family reunification, and the perception of lenient immigration policies, entice migrants to risk everything for a chance at a brighter future. As we delve deeper into the reasons behind the record numbers of migrants crossing the US-Mexico border, it becomes evident that one of the key driving forces is the dire economic conditions in their home countries. Many migrants come from impoverished nations where unemployment rates are skyrocketing, leaving individuals and families struggling to make ends meet. Take Honduras, for example. In recent years, this Central American nation has faced
Now I'm gonna ask you a question. With the numbers and the way that they are coming into our communities, what will our communities look like in a few years if this goes unchecked? Are we looking at the future they bring? There's a saying, wherever you go, you take your baggage. Wherever you go, you take yourself. If they were so productive as a society and who these people are, why haven't they built their country up? Why haven't they stopped the cartels? What are they coming here for? Because the average person I know that's working class is living check to check. You know what I mean? We ain't living no life that you see on TV. Think about it. Continue to watch this video though. Like and share and subscribe this one.
Significant economic challenges, with a staggering 66% of the population living in poverty. The lack of job opportunities and the inability to provide for their families push many Hondurans to seek a better life elsewhere. They embark on treacherous journeys, enduring long and dangerous routes, facing the risk of violence, exploitation, and even death. It is a desperate gamble, but one they are willing to take in the pursuit of economic stability. But not just economic factors drive migrants to leave their homes. The rampant violence and insecurity in countries like El Salvador and Guatemala also play a a significant role. These nations have been plagued by gang violence, drug cartels, and political instability, creating an environment of fear and danger. In El Salvador, for instance, the murder rate is one of the highest in the world, with gang-related violence gripping communities and leaving citizens in constant fear for their lives. The combination of economic hardship and violence creates a perfect storm, pushing individuals and families to make the difficult decision to leave everything behind and embark on the perilous journey to the United States. They are willing to face the risks and uncertainties of the journey because the alternative is simply unbearable. Another factor that cannot be ignored is the impact of climate change. In recent years, Central America has been hit by devastating natural disasters, including hurricanes, droughts, and floods. These events have had a catastrophic effect on agriculture, the main source of livelihood for many in the region. Crops are destroyed, livestock is lost, and entire communities are left without food or income. The desperation caused by these climate-related disasters further fuels the desire to migrate in search of stability and a chance to rebuild their lives. It is important to note that the record numbers of migrants are not solely driven by conditions in their home countries. The situation in the United States also plays a significant role. The perception of lenient immigration policies and the promise of a better life act as powerful magnets, drawing migrants to the US-Mexico border. The hope of finding employment, reuniting with family members, and accessing better education and healthcare are all factors that contribute to the decision to undertake the dangerous journey. For many migrants, the desire to be reunited with loved ones who have already made the journey is a powerful motivator. The promise of building a better future together and escaping the hardships of their home countries drives individuals.
You seen when they interviewed an immigrant that was in Detroit, he was at Freedom House. He said he wants to hurry up, get a working visa, make money so he can send the money back to pay for other family members and other people to come and make the trip. So that means they're not even paying into the economy. So we're paying out of our tax dollars to fund our own destruction. Think about it.
To take the risks and embark on the arduous journey. One such example is the story of Maria, a mother from Guatemala who made the difficult decision to leave her children behind in search of a better life in the United States.
Okay, I promise I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let it play for a minute. But I know Maria on 7 Mile with 3 kids is trying to catch a break. You know what I mean? Every time she look up, they cutting the Section 8 off, cutting the stamps off, making her go through some type of program, making her jump through hoops. And she been here.
Maria had heard stories of other families reuniting and the opportunities awaited them. She couldn't bear the thought of her children growing up in poverty and facing the same challenges she had endured. With a heavy heart, she left her children in the care of her parents and set off on the dangerous journey north. Maria's story is not unique. Many parents are forced to make the heart-wrenching choice to leave their children behind, hoping to provide them with a brighter future once they have established themselves in the United States. This desire for family reunification is a powerful driving force behind the record numbers of migrants crossing the border. Another significant factor contributing to the surge in migration is the impact of social media and technology. In today's interconnected world, information spreads rapidly, and migrants are increasingly aware of the possibilities and opportunities that await them in the United States. They see images and hear stories of successful journeys and prosperous lives, fueling their aspirations and motivating them to take the risk. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp have become virtual gathering places for migrants where they can share information, exchange tips, and provide support to one another. These online communities serve as a vital resource for those planning their journeys, offering guidance on routes, transportation, and even potential dangers to avoid. The power of technology has transformed the migration landscape, making it easier for individuals to connect and plan their journeys.
I'm gonna make it real plain for y'all. Okay, if Maria with the 3 kids want to get over here because it's the land of milk and honey, what about Julio, the gangbanger cutthroat, that look on there and see y'all with y'all Nikes on, and see y'all with all y'all gold chains, and see y'all with all y'all rap music and your other music? You look so wealthy. You look like a bunch of Thanksgiving turkeys to them. And then you see how they say they're using social media. You know how many times my phone has been hacked or something been hacked or the computer or something been hacked because I deal with a lot of social media. But I'm quite sure y'all all get friend we friend requests and Instagram people, you know what I mean, asking you questions. See, I question them to see what they be wanting. They be asking you, can you send me a picture? You know, you can read they foreigner, they be asking you where you from. You know what I mean? You gotta, if you curious, see, I'm curious of looking at things. What are you asking for? Or you want a picture? You want to know what city I'm from? What a picture of me. And clearly you're not using the English language correctly. You're a scammer in another country. I don't know where you at. You might be real close to the border. You might be down the street. That's how they're using social media. And this is how they're looking at American people. That's why they don't have no respect for you. That's why they beat the cop up in New York. They coming for it. And then that might not even be Maria's story that she telling him. She ain't got her kids with her. Maria's story might have been she got tired of working at El Dago Saloon, rolling drunks and helping line up tourists. You know what I mean? She probably find an easy hustle. I can do this over there. I ain't got to get El Dago no cut. You see, they working in here with the cartel. Pay attention. Don't mind my commentary. Just pay attention.
However, it is essential to acknowledge that not all migrants crossing the US-Mexico border are driven solely by economic or family-related reasons. There are also individuals seeking refuge and asylum, fleeing persecution, violence, and political instability in their home countries. These individuals are often escaping life-threatening situations and are in desperate need of protection and safety. The surge in migrants seeking asylum has put a strain on the already overwhelmed immigration system. The backlog of asylum cases has reached unprecedented levels, with individuals waiting months or even years for their cases to be heard. This backlog not only prolongs the uncertainty and anxiety for those seeking protection, but also creates challenges for the countries receiving them. Why is the US-Mexico border deadly for migrants? The US-Mexico border is a treacherous and deadly path for migrants seeking to enter the United States. The journey is fraught with danger, and the reasons behind the high number of deaths and disappearances are shocking. One of the primary factors contributing to the deadliness of the border is the harsh and unforgiving desert terrain. The Sonoran and Chihuahuan deserts, which span the US-Mexico border, present extreme challenges for migrants. The scorching temperatures, often exceeding 38 degrees Celsius, 100.4 Fahrenheit, pose a significant risk to those attempting to cross. Dehydration, heat stroke, and exhaustion are constant threats, and without access to water and shelter, many migrants succumb to these harsh conditions. Furthermore, the lack of landmarks and navigational aids in the desert makes it easy for migrants to get lost and disoriented. With few reference points, they often find themselves walking in circles, unable to find their way. This confusion and disorientation can lead to prolonged exposure to the elements, exacerbating the risks they face. Another shocking reason for the high number of deaths along the border is the prevalence of human smuggling and trafficking. Desperate to reach the United States, migrants often turn to smugglers who promise to guide them across the border. However, these smugglers are often unscrupulous and have little regard for the safety and well-being of the migrants in their care. Migrants are crammed into overcrowded and unsafe vehicles, forced to endure long and treacherous journeys. In some cases, these vehicles break down in the middle of the desert, leaving migrants stranded without food, water, or any means of communication. The lack of proper ventilation and extreme temperatures inside these vehicles can quickly lead to heat exhaustion and even death. Moreover, the dangerous nature of the border attracts criminal organizations involved in drug trafficking and other illicit activities. These organizations often control the routes and territories along the border, making it even more perilous for migrants. They prey on vulnerable individuals, exploiting their desperation and subjecting them to violence, abuse, and exploitation. The US Border Patrol and other law enforcement agencies are tasked with patrolling the border and preventing unauthorized crossings, while their mission includes...
What do you think so far? You got a ways to go in this story. You know what I mean? And like I'm showing it to you, the government already know this. You know what I'm saying? What are we really looking at? Because as soon as they get here, you put them in a luxury hotel and you give them a cell phone And you tell them they ain't got to follow rules and then they're better than everybody else. After all that they've been through, no, they
Rescuing those in distress, the vastness of the border, and the challenging terrain make their efforts difficult. Despite their best intentions, they are unable to reach every migrant in need, resulting in tragic outcomes. It is important to note that the reported number of migrant deaths along the US-Mexico border is likely an underestimate. The true scale of the tragedy remains unknown due to missing data and the challenges of accurately documenting deaths in remote and inaccessible areas. While the US-Mexico border remains a deadly path for migrants, efforts have been made to address the dire conditions and provide safer alternatives for those seeking a better life. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, various organizations and agencies have taken steps to mitigate the risks and advocate for safe and regular migration routes. One key player in this endeavor is the International Organization for Migration, IOM, which has been at the forefront of addressing the challenges faced by migrants along the US-Mexico border. The IOM collects data on migrant deaths and disappearances, providing crucial information to policymakers and stakeholders. Their reports shed light.
I started to just turn my computer on right here and hit the button for Facebook and scroll through your lives. Restaurants you go to, school you went to, who your friends is, where you get your workflow at, what kind of idiocy did you say? You always say you chasing the bag, or you always, you know what I mean? People read into y'all so easy. They read into your character. Person look at your post and look at your character. Then look at your picture. Then go through all your family members' picture while you playing in social media with this type of thing going on in the metaverse. First thing they do is get them an iPhone. Once they get an iPhone, they get the friendly, they get the moving. What are we really witnessing? Think about it. I'm just giving y'all some thoughts
on the magnitude of the crisis and emphasized the need for immediate action. Michelle Klein-Solomon, the IOM's regional director for Central and North America and the Caribbean, stresses the importance of countries acting on the available data to ensure safe and regular migration routes. This includes investing in infrastructure, establishing humanitarian corridors, and providing support to migrants in transit. By creating accessible pathways, the risks associated with unauthorized border crossings can be significantly reduced. In recent years, there has been a growing recognition of the need for a comprehensive approach to migration that prioritizes human rights and addresses the root causes of migration. This approach involves addressing economic disparities, violence, and political instability in countries of origin, which often drive individuals to embark on dangerous journeys in.
Have you noticed they keep showing you them gangbangers with them masks on? They're gonna keep them a bandana, keep a way to cover their face up when you seeing who they is, but when they take the mask back off and they blend in with the rest of the migrants, hey, wouldn't you if you was them? Come on now.
Of safety and opportunity. The United States, in collaboration with Mexico and other Central American countries, has implemented initiatives aimed at addressing the underlying causes of migration and improving conditions along the border. These initiatives include development programs, job creation, and efforts to strengthen regional governance and security. By addressing the root causes, it is hoped that fewer individuals will feel compelled to undertake the perilous journey across the border. Additionally, concerted efforts have enhanced search and rescue operations along the border. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and other law enforcement agencies have made rescuing those in distress a core part of their mission. In fiscal year 2022 alone, there were 7,113 rescue incidents and 22,076 migrants rescued. These efforts have undoubtedly saved countless lives and provided a glimmer of hope amidst the tragedy. However, the challenges faced by law enforcement agencies cannot be overlooked. The vastness of the border, the harsh terrain, and the involvement of criminal organizations make their task incredibly difficult. Despite their best efforts, they are unable to reach every migrant in need, and many continue to perish in the unforgiving desert. To address these challenges, there is a need for increased collaboration and coordination among countries, international organizations, and civil society. This includes sharing information, resources, and best practices to ensure a more effective response to the humanitarian crisis at the border. It also involves holding accountable those who engage in human smuggling and trafficking, as well as providing support and protection to survivors. Furthermore, there is a pressing need for improved data collection and reporting on migrant deaths. The Government Accountability Office is finding that CBP has not collected and reported complete data on migrant deaths, highlights the importance of accurate and comprehensive information. By understanding the true scale of the tragedy, policymakers can make informed decisions and allocate resources accordingly. Criminal violence in Mexico. Mexico, a country known for its vibrant culture, rich history, and breathtaking landscapes, has unfortunately also become synonymous with criminal violence. Since 2018, over 30,000 people have lost their lives each year due to this epidemic. But how did Mexico find itself in the grip of such brutality? To understand the present, we must first look to the past. In the 1980s, Mexico's criminal groups and drug traffickers began to organize themselves, establishing regional areas of control and trafficking routes. At first, their operations were relatively contained, but as production and distribution increased, so did their thirst for power and control. These criminal organizations, often referred to as cartels, fought for territorial control and access to lucrative markets. This fierce competition led to a surge in violence across the country. What was once a relatively peaceful nation became a battleground for rival factions vying for dominance. The impact of this violence cannot be understated. Families torn apart, communities living in fear, and a nation grappling with the consequences. The violence has left scars on the Mexican society that may take generations to heal. The rise of criminal violence in Mexico has had devastating consequences, with civilians bearing the brunt.
So if it's gonna take generations for them people to heal and from all their trauma, why are you unleashing them on us? We don't have no generation to wait while they come up out of their trauma. Look at the recipe for the disaster, how they setting it up. It's just gonna take generations for them to come outside their trauma. But y'all don't hear me though. Keep listening, please.
Of the violence, kidnappings, disappearances, and other heinous crimes have become all too common. The state's attempts to...
You can be granted a whopping $6,300 from a new subsidy. Pay attention, because it won't be here.
These criminal organizations have often resulted in human rights violations, further exacerbating the situation. The impact of this violence extends beyond Mexico's borders. Desperate to escape the horrors of their homeland, many individuals have turned to illegal migration to the United States in search of safety and a better life. The cartels, responsible for much of the violence, have also played a significant role in the drug trade, smuggling drugs across the border and fueling a drug overdose epidemic in the United States. The interconnectedness of criminal violence in Mexico and the migration crisis cannot be ignored. The violence drives people to leave their homes in search of safety, while the flow of drugs across the border fuels addiction and crime in the United States. It is a vicious cycle that continues to perpetuate the suffering of both nations. In 2006, former President Felipe Calderón declared war on criminal organizations, launching a military-led initiative to combat drug cartels. The intention was to dismantle these criminal networks and restore peace and security to the nation. However, the reality proved to be far more complex. President Calderon's strategy, while well-intentioned, had unintended consequences, as the military...
Okay, I'm just going to interject right there because he said dismantle. If you dismantle a cartel, all you do is separate the parts. Anytime you dismantle anything, you take it apart, but all the pieces are still there. Even if you lose a piece, you may still be able to make it work. So they dismantled the cartels, and the cartels blended in with the regular people. Continue.
Engaged in violent exchanges with the cartels, rival factions emerged, seeking to fill the power vacuum left by the dismantled organizations. The result was an increase in violence and a fragmented criminal landscape. In 2012, President Enrique Peña Nieto revised the government's strategy, shifting the focus away from violent exchanges, improving law enforcement capacity, and supporting public safety. The hope was that a more comprehensive approach would yield better results. However, despite initial decreases in homicides following Peña Nieto's reforms, Mexico continued to struggle with corruption and crime-related violence. Drug-related homicides increased by 22% from 2016 to 2017, with more than 20,000 lives lost. The discovery of a mass grave containing the remains of over 250 victims of crime-related violence in Veracruz state served as a grim reminder of the challenges Mexico faced. Against this backdrop, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, popularly known as AMLO, emerged as a presidential candidate. He promised to revolutionize the fight against cartels and revert to a civilian-led police force. His campaign slogan, "Hugs, not bullets," resonated with many who were weary of the violence. AMLO proposed poverty alleviation programs, the legalization of marijuana, and new sentencing guidelines for drug traffickers as part of his amorphous policy. His vision was to address the root causes of crime and violence rather than solely relying on force. After winning the election and assuming office in December 2018, AMLO announced the creation of a new National Guard, a hybrid civilian police and military force to fight cartels. The deployment of this force to the southern border with Guatemala aimed to stem migration as part of a deal with the United States. However, despite these efforts, AMLO's tactics have largely failed to curb the...
Now they throw another wrench into it. They created a force, almost like a militia, of young men to help fight with the cartels like they've always done. Don't you see what the alarming thing that they're discovering at the border? Remember, they've been telling y'all that, and they've been alluding, telling y'all that the men that's coming over look military age. They were saying military age. So you could think, oh, they're just old enough to go to the military. Why don't you just say they're 18? Why don't you just say they're 18? But you're using the term military age because when the people find out that there's soldiers, there's foreigners amongst them, trained soldiers, working within a criminal element and criminal enterprises, while y'all saying defund the police. Really? That's a setup. That's a back door. You setting us up. You gonna say defund the police, then bring in paramilitias and gangbangers from a whole nother country and just let them loose while you screaming defund the police, while you beefing up your security. That's what the Democrats doing. They get extra security. Look at them, man. Pay attention, y'all.
Violence. While there has been a marginal decrease in homicide rates, the country still reports over 30,000 crime-related deaths each year. Mexico's 2021 midterm elections were marred by violence. Attacks on journalists reached record highs, and anti-corruption reforms have...
That's enough. I'm gonna put the video from Fugitive. You can see the rest of it. At this point, it's like at the 30-minute mark. I'll give y'all 30 minutes. I put the video on in the community section, and you can look at the entirety of it, you know, after seeing my take on it. And it's deep. Remember, I keep telling y'all, get this book right here. I don't know. They might not like y'all reading this book, Brad William Cooper. They might not like y'all reading this. But y'all gotta get educated and know what's going on. You know, turn off the entertainment for a minute. You know? Like that movie Gladiator be saying, and Hassan Campbell be saying it too. Are you not entertained? Sending to y'all out of Detroit. Peace. Y'all better keep y'all head on a swivel for sure.